Obsession built Wednesday, but was it burning Jenna Ortega down? Stick around, and we'll count exactly what it cost and why she would choose it again.
I begged my mom for years. I first wanted to start acting when I was 6 years old. My parents said, no way in hell.
Jenna got a monologue book.
One day my mom got me this monologue book that she got from Barnes & Noble's to shut me up, like, here, play. And I did a dramatic monologue for her where I was hysterically crying and she didn't know where it was coming from or what I was talking about. And I told her, this is from the monologue book that you got me. This is what you told me to do.
She told her mom, I want to act, not take classes, act.
I begged her for a while, and she was like, no, that's crazy. LA is far away from here. Like, I don't want to make that commute.
Right now, I'm going to show you my dramatic monologue. Mom, are you awake? What happened to your hair? It was there yesterday when you came home from the hospital. A wig? Daddy told me the doctors had cut some off. Why'd they take it off?
She had me do it again and she put it on her Facebook and put, my little drama queen, whatever.
Her mom, off from an overnight hospital shift, packs her car at dawn, 6 hours round trip to LA, sometimes 5 days a week.
So 4 or 5 times a week, my mom was a full-time ER nurse, but she would drive me. It was like a 6-7 hour round trip, LA and back, for auditions that lasted.
Even though she was a full-time ER nurse?
And she has 5 other kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jenna's doing her homework in the passenger seat until her papers slide to the floor as she falls asleep. Count it. Miles, auditions, maybes. Each mile asks the same question. What if this is all for nothing?
Hi, I'm Alex.
Then she gets Jane the Virgin and stuck in the middle.
People might be asking if I'm related to Gina because I play the younger version of her in Jane the Virgin. It was one of the first jobs that I ever did.
Hello, Marshport High. It's Harley with today's announcements.
From the outside, adorable. From the inside, a grind that's already taking everything. At 14, Jenna auditions to voice an animated Wednesday Addams. She doesn't get it. At 15, she reads for Dune. She doesn't get it.
I auditioned for Dune when I was about 15. I remember just being a big fan of that film and the franchise and everything like that, and being really excited for that interview because Denis is one of my favorite filmmakers. I think it was Chani. I think it was Zendaya's. But they weren't saying that. Everything was very secret.
Stuck in the middle ends, the phone goes quiet. She's told she's too old for kids, too young for adults.
It probably was the driest spout I've ever had in my career. I had just gotten off of this Disney show and I had about a year and a half where getting jobs seemed impossible. I couldn't audition for films, so it was a very confusing time.
It's worse than rejection. It's invisibility. She watches from home, thinking about those 6-hour drives. Count it. The roles that slipped away, the hours she won't get back, the doubt riding shotgun. So she fights, starting with small indie films.
What was that?
Guest spots.
Sorry, Marcella.
Anything to prove she's more than a Disney kid.
Correction! This is a problem!
Not every role is a step up. It's a way to not disappear without having to take a role she doesn't believe in.
And it was funny because when I met Tim Burton for my Wednesday audition, I had just finished doing that, so I had stage blood and glycerin sweat in my hair and a massive cut on my face and had been up for over 24 hours. I got on the Zoom and he actually laughed. It made me laugh. I thought it was sincere.
Then Netflix calls. Tim Burton wants her for live action Wednesday. She says no. They ask again. She says no again. She clawed too hard to escape TV typecasting. She refused to compromise her art for the sake of a part. But Burton's vision is odd in all the right places, and he promises to build something cold and alive all at once. It sounds like an opportunity for her to do something she loves in a way that feels honest, but it also feels like a trap. If it works, she's branded the TV kid. If it fails, the flop has her face on it. She says yes, once she's sure she can keep Wednesday honest. Count it, one enormous gamble. When she crosses the line, there's no halfway. Hair cut and dyed.
I remember we had hair and makeup tests at his place in London, and we tried silver streaks in my hair, short, tiny braids, really long, thick braids. We just tried all different variations. So I told the hairdresser, I said, hey, maybe just cut my actual hair. He said, are you sure? And I said, hey, if we have time to grow it out, whatever, let's just see. And then he loved it, and that was something that we married and we stuck to, and I remember him being very peculiar and specific about the look.
Cello lessons.
Actually, I learned to play the cello for Wednesday. I started working on the cello about 2 months before we started shooting.
Fencing. Archery. Canoeing. German lessons?
Genießen Sie Ihr authentisches Pilgerfahrt aus Kakaobohnen, bezogen von den unterdrückten Bewohnern des Amazonas.
Sometimes after 12-hour shoot days.
I knew what the character needed, and I had studied her enough and understood her well enough at that point.
She studies posture, stillness, until she can deliver entire scenes without blinking.
At some point during the first couple weeks of shooting, I did a take where I did not blink at all, and Tim said, I don't want you to blink anymore.
Lines that don't feel true to Wednesday, she rewrites them on set, a move she'll later call almost unprofessional.
There was times on that set where I even became almost unprofessional in a sense where I just started changing lines. The script supervisor thought that like I was going with something, and then I would have to sit down with the writers and they would be like, wait, what happened to the scene? You can't lead a story and have no emotional arc because then it's boring and nobody likes you.
The dance, originally a flash mob, she kills it. Wednesday wouldn't lead a crowd. In just 2 days, she stitches together something stranger. Grainy 80s goth-inspired choreography, counted, clipped, recounted until the steps feel inevitable.
I relate to Wednesday so much and I see a lot of myself in her. For that one, they made a reference in the script of Susie and the Banshees. So I looked at a lot of performances of theirs live, and then I found a lot of footage, like there's like hours worth of footage of goth kids in clubs in the 80s dancing. And I took some of the stuff that they do and added it towards the end just as like free improvising.
It's not the safest choice, but it's the right one for her character. Counted, steps, takes, fixes. Her OCD is relentless.
Quite difficult because we're always traveling for work and it's always a new environment, and whatever the job is, you kind of have to create a new routine that you can only really stick to for 6 weeks because then you're off to the next one. I too feel the need to go to bed around 8 p.m., 8:30, but I don't because it's the only time I can get things done.
Magical thinking rituals make her climb stairs multiple times, count objects over and over, layering exhaustion on top of exhaustion. She films through it. Protecting her work isn't always neat.
When I'm tired, I have pretty intense OCD, so I have a lot of that's kind of my routine in terms of repetitive thoughts and counting everything multiple times and having to do the same action over and over. So sometimes my nights consist of like just being really exhausted and going up and down the stairs 6 times because I think that's what I need to do to make sure nobody breaks into my home.
The show drops. The dance breaks the internet. Millions of views. Lady Gaga jumps on the trend and is later cast in season 2.
When we were on set, I actually didn't know what to call her, so everyone was just going, Gaga's coming, and that was the code word. And it was so funny because she is so sweet, so humble, just a normal person, and it's beautiful and amazing, and it's intimidating when someone is so talented but so cool at the same time.
Then it comes out. She filmed the scene sick while waiting a COVID test.
Jenna Ortega is facing backlash for apparently filming this Wednesday Addams scene while she had COVID. It's crazy because it was my first day with COVID, so it was awful to film.
The criticism dogpiles. That almost unprofessional line, critics sharpen it into entitlement. She calls herself an unhappy person in the wake of fame. Every interview, every photo, another demand on a mind already crowded with counting.
I guess I've been exposed to the world in a sense. People prey on that and take advantage of that, and they see your vulnerability and twist it in a way that you don't always expect.
The internet sees a polished goth icon. She feels misunderstood, trapped between her own brain and everyone else's version of her.
It's very easy to feel like almost out of control of things, which is why it's so important, I think, for people to get off the phone.
Season 2, she has more say. More horror, less romance. Her lane.
We've had a lot of conversations, and I think we've decided things that we definitely want to enhance or dive a little bit deeper in. I think we want to lean into the horror aspect of the show a little bit more because it is so lighthearted. And
this time, she isn't burning out for someone else's vision. She's deciding where the fire goes. The 14-year-old who lost the animated Wednesday now defines the live-action one. The teen who didn't get Dune builds worlds on her own terms. Final count, the miles, the no's, the rituals, the rewrites. The scene shot with a fever that took over the world. She's never done anything halfway. The difference now, she chooses her battles.
I go for quality over quantity.
She won by protecting her point of view, saying no until she had authorship, until she could do her art her way. Is there something you need to say no to? Tell me in the comments.
Nothing.